Hello folks, I am John Najarian here at the NASDAQ market site for the International ICO and Crypto channel, and I'm delighted to have Barry Hyatt and Dr. John Copenhaver here with me at the NASDAQ market site. Guys, welcome. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
This is a really interesting space that you guys are in because the President of the United States talks about the opioid epidemic. Congress talks about it. They talk about what they might do to try to curb it, but ultimately the people that are already part of that epidemic need some sort of help. Right. And there are some solutions that are out there, and people that have successfully or unsuccessfully moved through these, in fact, many people several times, because maybe they fall off and have to go back to some sort of discipline of staying away from something that is so addictive, whether it's alcohol or whether it's drugs. And you guys have a really unique solution for this. I guess 21 million Americans have one of these kinds of addictions, and perhaps only 10 million of them, 10% of that number, 2 million,
yes,
are treated for it.
Indeed.
Each year. So if you could, Barry, tell me a little bit about what your HAYVER platform is all about and how you guys are going to solve that.
Like you said, this is in the U.S., an epidemic levels have reached really with the opiates. Mm-hmm. There were 21 million chronically ill with substance abuse. Around the globe, the numbers are even more staggering. About 110 million people suffer from alcoholism and substance abuse. And more than 300,000 people die every single month from this disease. Mm-hmm. So HAYVER has created the first digital platform to help people overcome drug and alcohol addiction through monitoring, incentives and rewards, peer support group, peer accountability, and data-driven methods to improve outcomes and reduce relapse. And
so you work with Dr. John Copenhaver. Great to see you, Doc.
Good to be here.
So I loved the idea that you guys have a take on it as far as those incentives and rewards that Barry spoke of. Those are crypto assets. In some, at least part of it is
Correct.
A crypto asset, these tokens. Indeed. That the HAYVER platform has created. Tell us a little bit about why that's going to work better, Doc.
Well, there's a couple of aspects that's completely unique to this product. Mm-hmm. When you scour the literature, the medical literature of what actually works, there's two aspects that actually works in the treatment of addiction. One of them is unquestionably monitoring works. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by monitoring is the possibility of being drug or alcohol tested on any given day. Mm-hmm. There's an obsession of every alcoholic and addict that they can get away with just one. Mm-hmm. And it's an obsession that goes on almost their entire life. And so when I scoured the literature, literally the most effective way to keep people in long-term recovery is through a monitoring program. So physicians are mandated to monitoring programs. Pilots are mandated to 5-year monitoring programs. The general public is not mandated to any monitoring programs, and the abstinence rate after 5 years are staggering. With the physicians and pilots can up to 95% be abstinent after 5 years, mm-hmm. where the general public it's around 3%. 3, that's reality. You right. go into treatment and you're not a physician or a pilot, and you don't get into a monitoring program, you have about a 3% chance of being abstinent after 5 years.
So obviously the other side of that is 97% fall back into it.
Fall back into it.
Exactly.
And relapse, mm-hmm. okay? And of course with relapse becomes divorce, job loss, jail, just incredible consequences right. for continued use.
The costs are staggering.
It's staggering.
To the taxpayers that might not even be involved, of course, in any addiction, but the cost to support that.
Directly and indirectly, it costs the U.S. economy over $400 billion a year.
I mean, it's nuts.
Staggering.
And so we've come up with a a platform that allows everybody to check in daily, and where you have peer-to-peer support instead of a medical board or the FAA for pilots. You have peer-to-peer support, and so far it's working fantastically. You know, my wife monitors me. Okay?
My wife monitors me too.
Well, and the families love it. And they love it because now they know that this person isn't sneaking just one. And then what it does is it gives your brain time to heal.
Right.
I mean, when you look at the fMRI studies, it literally takes 18 months to 2 years of complete abstinence in order for your brain to heal, to look like a non-addicted or alcoholic brain. It takes a long, long time. And in the meantime, people are relapsing and going back to treatment and relapsing and going back to treatment, and they're not being put in a monitoring program. So we developed a monitoring platform for everybody to stand a chance.
Right.
And so we have the deterrent of being caught. And once you switch out of the mode of this is punishment, and switch into the mode of this is helping me stay sober,
Right.
then you are well on your way to recovery. So we have the psychological deterrent from that aspect of the only thing that's been shown to work is monitoring. And then we have the psychological incentives of look what I'm doing.
Yep.
And so we have the Do It coin, which is a coin of courage, because it takes an extraordinary amount of courage to be in recovery. You just have to be courageous because there's so much stigma involved.
Sure.
They're so looking down on that person. And sometimes rightly so, because we keep doing the same stupid behavior over and over and over.
Well, speaking of behavior, but not stupid behavior, you have over and over sold companies. I mean, you've built companies up and then sold them. Give us a quick background on that, if you would, Barry.
In the last almost 18 years now, I have been in, this is the third enterprise. The first one was a company in radiology. It was a publicly traded company that after the .com, they got delisted from NASDAQ and was on the verge of bankruptcy. I took over the company as its chairman and CEO, turned that around and grew the company, put it back on trading, and actually moved the stock from the few pennies to 98 cents till 2008 crisis hit. And in the end of 2010, we sold the clinics to RadNet, which was the largest publicly traded radiology company at the time. And then in 2011, I bought an electronic health record company that John and his family have founded in '94. They were a pioneer in electronic health record business. And we have grown that company for the next 5 years. And then we sold the customer base to one of the leading medical software companies in the country, a publicly traded company. And then John had the idea, as soon as we sold it in July of 2016, to come and help people in recovery. There's nobody who has a digital platform. So we decided to build a social impact company that has also a proven subscription-based revenue model that we can build to be sustainable. And then when the crypto and blockchain came along, there's a lot of values, that are common to both to what we do in recovery and what you do in blockchain, like privacy, like decentralization, like peer empowerment, like commitment to do the right thing for the world, for everybody, not just for the shareholders. And we decided to adopt that technology and platform and bring it to the market.
What are the plans for expansion at this point? I mean, that's partly what the token raise, I imagine, is going to be for, right?
Indeed. The token raise is to accelerate expansion. We already launched the company in 2017. First, we focused, you mentioned earlier in your discussion, that only 10% of the people in the country get treatment. So we naturally focused on that segment of the market. So we went to facility-based businesses, treatment centers, recovery residences, and such. And we started offering the services because today, as John said, you're coming out of a treatment center, you're back to the wild. There's nothing to walk you through for the long term. So now we approached them, we started offering the aftercare, and some of them started really liking it. So we started making changes, and they're starting to use it in-house, and they're paying us for it. So we already have a customer base with them, we already have paying customers, And now we're looking to raise capital so we can go after insurance companies, self-insured employers, institutions, and wellness programs and such that have a large population that suffer from this. Because the preventive, we're already seeing wellness doing very, very well in other digital platforms. And we believe that with this, we can help insurance company keep people, we can monitor them, we can give them a recovery. We're building a whole ecosystem around it to help them stay in recovery for the long term, and for the insurance company to save a tremendous amount of money on treatment, on churning treatment, and so forth. And
what is the difference between your token and some of the other tokens? Every event is different. How is yours different?
Like I said earlier, first of all, we are a social impact company with a proven business model. But we know that deterrent, as John has described earlier, is definitely a major factor, but also incentive is a very, very good factor, incentives and rewards. So when we looked at the values, like I said earlier, of the blockchain industry, blockchain community, and the recovery community, because of the share of values, we can bring a token that John has mentioned earlier that can be not only just a sign of courage, like the pink ribbon did for breast cancer, and we can really put in front of people, but people can, nonprofit organizations, businesses, they can donate this, they can transfer them, they can help people by saying, look, you need this recovery service, we can do this to you. So not only that we can reward people for healthy behaviors and other people who support them to do healthy related behaviors, but also we envision that this token will be the basis of a combined economy of the altruistic and the commercial economy. There's already an altruistic economy that exists there, and the token can be the driver to unite them and make it much more efficient for exchange of products and services to help people stay in recovery.
So Doc, when somebody's in treatment, and obviously they want to get better for themselves, for their family, and so forth, but then there's that reward center in your brain that is also inspired beyond that and wants to earn some of these incentives. Like you said, it is a badge of courage, and I think all of us are pretty proud of anybody who has managed to beat an addiction, but there's these incentives that you guys are offering as well, these tokens, and that seems to be something pretty powerful as well.
Well, it is. With addiction, I had mentioned earlier the I don't want to say negative feedback, but the disincentive of being caught is very powerful. But there's also lots of studies out there that are relatively new that show actually paying somebody to stay sober has been shown to be effective.
Sure.
So if we open our minds up enough and start exploring all kinds of different avenues and aspects to help people stay sober, well, with a push-pull type of psychology that we're offering, we think we're really going to be able to make a big difference. And again, by offering this to everybody, now everybody can have a chance. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to give everybody a chance, not just based on your occupation,
Sure.
but everybody.
Now, Barry, are you seeing a pretty good adoption or endorsement by investors that are starting to look at this? I know you're just going into the private sale now, so it's too early to say, oh, this is a screaming success already, but it seems that you'd have a lot of takers for the tokens.
We're getting very good early indications and commitments. To date, we almost have the company for 2 years. It was us, the founders, have been basically funding the company to date. And now that we started reaching out to the market, we already got yesterday several commitments, and we believe there's more to come, and we're very excited about that.
Fantastic. Well, Barry, Doc, it's great to be here at the NASDAQ market site with both of you guys. I wish you a lot of success. Folks, I've been talking about the HAYVER Platform, a solution for addiction and an incentive. So the carrot, not just a stick. I'm John Najarian from the NASDAQ market site for the International ICO and Crypto Channel.